1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Politics, Culture, and Some Other Shit. Oh my god. What a nightmare. I had my computer away for weeks, and it turns out it's fucked. But I got it back in something of a working state. So this podcast, this episode today, is going to be a shorty. I'm just going to do a quick blast, and then I'm going to see what I record. What actually happened was, in the middle of recording the last episode I tried to, which is about 3 weeks ago now, the computer just broke. It just stopped working. Turns out the RAM, there's something wrong with the RAM. I don't know. So I brought it up to Maxis up in Belfast, and they fixed it, but they gave me a bit of bad news. I think it's on its way out. It's not too serious. It only cost me 800 quid second hand 2 years ago. Yeah, that's all. But anyway, so I'm going to do a short episode today, and we'll see how we get on. And I'm just going to a quick tour of the horizon of the recent election results last week in the UK and in the north of Ireland here. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. So let's do it. Thanks, by the way, thank you to all my patrons for being especially patient. I never got one single complaint or unsubscriber or anything like that. And I really appreciate you for being so cool. So let's do it. Let's go. We're going to have a little look at the elections. We're going to start with this article on, where is it? Let me just find it for you here. Yeah. Morning Star. The Morning Star online. The headline, it's an editorial, turn a historic Tory defeat into a change of course for Britain. On a picture of Keir Starmer, or Kid Starver, as he's referred to in my circles. Not a fan, by the way, not a fucking fan. Backstabbing, lousy snake in the fucking grass is what that man is. And anybody that has the backing of the Sun, yeah, they can go fuck. So, here we go. Britain has just inflicted the worst defeat on the Conservative Party in its history. 2/3 of their MPs have been swept away in the night, leaving the smallest Tory contingent at Westminster since the party's foundation in 1834. Jubilation at the outcome has, for socialists, been sweetened by the sight of some of the most odious politicians in the country losing their seats, from former Prime Minister Liz Truss through to anti-union fanatic Grant Shapps to Victorian play actor Jacob Rees-Mogg. I am going to interject from time to time here with my own editorialising. Why socialists would be glad that Keir Starmer is now the PM is a bewilderment to me. I don't get that. And I am very, very much going to judge this man on the fibre of his fabric, so to speak. This is a man who has no room in his party for Jeremy Corbyn, but as Tory MPs became increasingly aware of their fate pre-election, they abandoned the Toryship and jumped into the Labour one, and were welcomed with open arms. And some of them, there was one from the South England, so down Folkestone sort of direction. Can't remember her name. She's a monster. I mean a far right lunatic. And as they were trying to kick out Diane Abbott, they were bringing her in. As they were kicking out Keir Starmer, they were bringing the likes of that particular Tory MP, whose name escapes me, in. So why a socialist would be glad? Glad to see Jacob Rees-Mogg and Liz Truss, etc., losing their seats, yes, but glad that Keir Starmer's the Prime Minister? No. The result is an emphatic rejection of a rotten government and its policies. Our sights must now be set on changing the country's course, reversing the tide of authoritarian legislation, including the anti-strike and anti-protest laws, ending the longest decline in real-term incomes in 200 years, riding to the rescue of collapsing public services. Some of that is in Labour's programme as it enters office with a huge majority, but not much. The left needs to put pressure on this government from day one, and I agree with that. Not just to ensure manifesto commitments to abolishing anti-union laws and boosting workers' rights are kept, but to drive it to break with Tory spending rules, which will hobble any attempt to resolve crises in healthcare, education, local government, and many other sectors. Excuse me, I have a slight cold. So I'm a wee bit coldy in my voice. The Labour right have their counter arguments ready. Keir Starmer rehearsed them in his victory speech. Labour has only regained the trust of the British people because it spent 4.5 years changing the party, smashing the left. It's nonsense. As elections analyst Professor John Curtis observes, Labour's sweeping win, down to the rejection of the Tories, whose vote has collapsed. Its vote share at 35% is not just lower than any of Tony Blair's election victories. We're talking about Labour now. It's considerably lower than the 40% Labour bagged when it lost the 2017 election under Jeremy Corbyn. So the vote share that Keir Starmer's Labour Party got came in at lower than both of Jeremy Corbyn's elections. The two times Jeremy Corbyn conducted a part of a general election, both of them were less than, or both of them were higher than what Keir Starmer got. Excuse me. Back to the article. It rose significantly in Scotland, Labour's did, where the SNP has been a meltdown for over a year. But in England, Labour's vote is unchanged from 2019, a year of catastrophic defeat. And in Wales, it has actually fallen since then. Starmer himself got only half as many votes as he did in 2019. Sour grapes? No. And many on the left who have long resented the Tories' repeated ability to secure commanding majorities on a minority of the vote are delighted to see the A-team of British capitalism shredded by the system they have always championed. It's about being clear on the balance of forces. One, Labour has not become more popular because it has shifted right. It has not become more popular at all. That contrasts to the 2015-2017 period and makes a case for a bolder programme. Without that bolder programme, one which might actually address the manifold crises that brought down the Tories, we can see a very grim future in the rise of the far right, with Reform UK being the main recipient of lost Tory votes and polling a strong second to Labour in parts of the country. This places a responsibility on the Labour movement to force Labour left or risk the collapse of the majority based on a low vote share, a metaphorical house built on sand. I'll give you my thoughts on that just in a second. There's just one more paragraph and we're done with this one. There is no need to despair. Reform UK may have won 5 MPs, but the election also returned 4 independents on a peace in Palestine platform, one demolishing the once formidable majority of Jonathan Ashworth in Leicester South, along with 4 Greens. Jeremy Corbyn's victory as an independent was a highlight of the night, a win for the popular mobilisation against the party machine, and secures in Islington North the services of an outstanding champion of peace and socialism, whose voice will be sorely needed at Westminster in a darkening world. It's time for change, but delivering it is up to us, not the new occupant of number 10. Well, yes, I agree with that, but I'm going to counter with this. If you think you're going to change Labour and push it to the left, you're fucking mad. Jeremy Corbyn tried that, and look what happened. So, as the editor, as that editorial, who is it actually wrote that? He's just editor of the Morning Star, whoever that may be. Um, as the editor said in the article, Jeremy Corbyn was something like 2,000 votes away from becoming the PM in that first election campaign that he was involved in. And that was without the help of the party. We now know from the Labour files, the documentary, and the many articles, and we know from Al Jazeera's The Lobby documentaries, that the Labour Party were actively working against their own leader, Jeremy Corbyn, as he was running for Prime Minister, and just in general across the board. So, if you think you're going to change the Labour Party and push it to the left, you're not. It's not going to happen. Labour is a lost cause. The Labour Party is a lost cause. One of the actually I meant to one of the sadnesses of the election for me was George Galloway losing his seat. I know a lot of people don't like George Galloway. I do. I like him for various reasons. And again, I always say this thing. People will say, "Oh well, I don't agree with everything he says." It's okay. You don't have to. If you agree with something everybody says, I think there's something wrong with you. I do like him, and I respect him. I respect his opinions, even the opinions that he has that I don't agree with, because a lot of people have the same opinion. They would be more socially conservative than me, and I respect that, and we need to respect that. And if we do respect that, we can get around things like the bullshit of the culture wars, things like that. I believe. So George, I actually meant to pull that article up. Let me just see if I can. See, George Galloway loses in Rochdale. So he lost to Labour. Labour spent a bloody fortune getting rid of George, which is very sad for me. I do like George Galloway now, and I wish him the best of luck. I don't know if he's going to ever run again. He said that he wasn't going to bother after this one. So here, George Galloway has been removed from Parliament after a 4-month stint. He lost to Labour by 1,400 votes. Wow. Galloway, who took a seat for his Workers' Parties in February in a by-election, did not attend the announcement, at which it was announced that former political journalist Paul Waugh had won the seat for Labour. Waugh had won by 13,000 votes, almost half the total won by the late Labour MP Tony Lloyd in 2019. Galloway took 11,000 votes. Yeah. So there you go. I'm very sad about that. I do like George. I love that I love that he is a genuine threat to the establishment, even in so much as we know that having one independent MP, well, he wasn't independent, he was the leader of the Workers' Party of Britain. Having one MP in the House of Commons doesn't really, it's not going to make much of a difference. But not having them there and having another Labour right wing neoliberal isn't going to do any good at all. At least hearing George sitting kicking people in the ass is worth it. And he did that. And I'm sorry to see him go. I hope he'll go run again. I don't think he will. Yeah. So there we go. So, right. As I said, this is just a quick tour de horizon, to use a George Gallowayism. And we're going to look at what happened at home here in the north of Ireland. So there's the BBC, and they give us the breakdown. Sinn Féin won 7, DUP 5, SDLP 2, Alliance 1, UUP 1, TUV 1, and Independent 1. So I'll show you who all of these people are. So here's the Irish Times. How did Northern Ireland vote? A full breakdown of each constituency. And the one that I wanted to focus on was my own, which is Upper Ban. So we will scroll down to it. And there it is. So Carla Lockhart, DUP, is elected in Upper Ban. She was run close-ish by Catherine Nelson of Sinn Féin, with Carla Lockhart at 21,000 and Catherine had 14,000. There really wasn't much of a. Third place was Owen Tennyson of Alliance, UUP 3,000 and SDLP Malachy Quinn 1,400. So the Sinn Féin and the DUP, as is often the case, were the two big dogs in that fight. And I was really hoping that Catherine would have got a wee bit closer than that. It's who I voted for. Even, as you know, I am a member. But I should say, again, that I joined People Before Profit recently. And but People Before Profit, we're not running in this constituency. So, but even still, you're still, as a member of People Before Profit, if you think you're going to overthrow the DUP, you're still left with it. Do you vote for the Sinn Féin? And it's all that sort of stuff. And the answer is no. You vote for who you want to vote for. That's the correct answer. But in the darkness of the polling booth, you're left wondering, aren't you? So, there's North Down elected was the independent Alex Easton. Let me just see. Sorry, North Down. I'll scroll down here. North Down. There it is. Alex Easton, 20,000 votes in North Down. Second place, Alliance, Stephen Farry. Yeah, wow. And Tim Collins, excuse me, sorry, as I said, I am a bit sniffy. I do apologise sincerely. That's fucking disgusting. Tim Collins is a joke. Tim Collins was the UUP's man who got parachuted in. I'm trying to see, did I bookmark? I didn't. He got parachuted in to run in North Down, and he made a complete cock of himself. And he's got that, that really posh English Northern Irish accent. He's got that. And I think for even the people in North Down, it was a step too far. I don't think they could even take it. You're fucking terrible. Posh. And he complained about the price of car insurance for his Rolls Royce in Northern Ireland. So he did. I swear he actually did that. I don't have it. It's let me see if I can just Google it real quick for you. Tim Collins Rolls Royce. Let me see. I want to see if this actually I should endeavour with this. Tim Collins. I'll do it on Twitter because you really do need to hear this fucker. Yeah. Insuring my Rolls Royce in England costs less than for a Ford Fiesta in North Down. Oh wow, man of the people. Where's the video? Maybe I imagine the it was video, but I definitely heard him speaking because he's annoying, and that they thought that he was going to resonate with the people. Even in Northdown, it was too much. No, can't find that video. I must have imagined that video. So let's get to. There's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up just about this, right? So, first of all, Sinn Féin become Northern Ireland's biggest Westminster party. Now, Sinn Féin have a policy of abstentionism, so don't go to Westminster, as you know. And it happens to be one that I agree with. I agree with their position, even though my own particular party, Jerry Carroll, would have ran, would if he had have been elected. Well, I'll show you the breakdown of his constituency in West Belfast. He would have gone, and that's fair enough. I don't really. I'm not going to fall out with anybody over that. But it's something that I do agree with the abstentionism stance that Sinn Féin have. I agree with it for very many reasons, but mainly moral ones. I don't think people in Ireland should be telling people in England, Scotland, and Wales how to live their lives and making their laws. And consequently, I don't think people over there should be making laws for us. We should be doing that ourselves. So here's an article from The Guardian. Sinn Féin has become Northern Ireland's largest party in Westminster after voters turned against the DUP and delivered a shock result that has been labelled the fall of the House of Paisley. The DUP lost 3 of its 8 Westminster seats in Thursday's election, including in North Antrim, stronghold held by Ian Paisley, the part-time representative of the Maldives. And before that, his late father, Ian Paisley, the senior, since 1970. The party had braced for a bruising night, but was shaken by the scale of defeats and a narrow escape in East Derry, a previously safe seat that it almost lost. East Derry is Fleggery Campbell's constituency, and he almost lost it. He only won it by 200 seats. Let's have a little look. I think it was to Sinn Féin. It was either Sinn Féin or... Yeah, so Gregory Campbell got elected with 11,500 votes, and Kathleen McGurk of Sinn Féin got 11,327 votes. That's only 200 and a few votes. So Sinn Féin are going to hammer that constituency hard the next time round. Sinn Féin celebrated its retaining its 7 seats, completing a hat-trick as the biggest party in local government. The Stormont Assembly and now Westminster, although the party abstains from taking its seats in Parliament. Yeah, Conor Murphy, there we go. So, there's wee Ian's face. Oh, bless. So here's the Standard. Night of Shocks, the London Evening Standard, as it used to be called. The night of shocks for DUP as Ian Paisley loses hold in North Antrim. So just before I read that, let's look at the breakdown in North Antrim, the numbers, because Jim Allister won that seat of the TUV. And now he won by 11,642 votes. Ian Richard Kyle Paisley, 11,182 votes. So about 450 votes, something like that, right? Not a lot, as I'm sure you'll agree. But if you give me a choice between Jim Allister and Ian Paisley Jr., I would choose Jim Allister as a politician. Not because I agree with a fucking word either the two of them say, really, but definitely not Jim Allister. But because I believe Jim Allister when he says what he says. I may disagree with everything that he said that comes out of his mouth, but I agree, or I appreciate that he's not a liar. He's not a slime ball. Ian Paisley Jr. is a slime ball. I don't believe that Jim Allister's corrupt. I believe his intent is honest, in so much as he thinks it's right. Again, I think it's completely wrong, but I don't think he's dishonest. I think Ian Paisley is a fucking slimeball. So I'll take Jim Allister every day of the week. Excuse me. DUP, so here's the Standard article. The DUP has suffered a bruising set of election results in Northern Ireland, with the party suffering a seismic shock when Ian Paisley lost his seat in North Antrim. They really must not have expected that. In a difficult night for the Unionist Party, the Alliance Party Sorcha Eastwood also had and this is another thing we're going to be getting on to, also had a historic result as she triumphed in the DUP stronghold of Lagan Valley, a seat formerly held by Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, who, as we know, is being hauled through the courts for various sexual, well, I don't know what to call it actually. Basically, he's being accused of raping daughters and things like that. Shocking. Allegedly. Right. The Paisley family has held North Antrim's seat for more than 50 years, but that legacy has come to an end with the victory of the TUV leader Jim Allister in the Unionist heartland. Mr. Allister said, "There is no escaping the fact that there has been a political earthquake in the North Antrim of seismic proportions. Today we mark an occasion after 54 years of DUP and Ian Paisley dynasty. The North Antrim has taken an alternative course. One bright spot in a disappointing night for the DUP was when its leader, Gavin Robinson, held off the challenge of Alliance Party leader Naomi Long in East Belfast. In the last result of the night, veteran DUP representative Flegery Campbell held on to his East Londonderry seat by 179 votes, having seen his previous majority of almost 10,000 slashed. Wow. That's amazing. So East Belfast, let's have a little look at this again. East Derry. Let me see. East Derry, there's it there. So Flegery lost 10,000 votes, but where did he lose them to? TUV got 4,000. UUP got 3,000. See, Alliance got 3,500. Well, right, okay. Interesting. So, did those people just not vote, or did they give them elsewhere? So let's have a little look at Lagan Valley while we've got these up. Belfast East. So, Belfast East, DUP, Gavin Robinson got elected with 19,884 votes. And Alliance, Naomi Long, 17,218. Wow, that was close. Interesting. So that's 2,500 votes. Not a lot. Not a lot. And then let's have a little look at Lagan Valley. So we've got Lagan Valley here. DUP, Jonathan Buckley, 15,659 votes. And Sorcha Eastwood, 18,618 votes. So 3,000 votes. So similar. Right? Amazing. That is the DUP really are the party, the gift that keeps on giving. None I like to see more than the DUP losing. Excuse me. Ian Paisley Jr. speaks after losing his seat. So let me play the video here. You should get this.
24 hours or so. I'd also like to thank my own team who are here for all the hard work and effort that they made. It's absolutely right. We know the effort that was made, we know the sweat that was put into this, and that is what politics is, and I appreciate that effort.
How would he know about sweat?
I won't name you individually, because I would of course leave someone out, but I do thank you. You know exactly who you are. The tides of life ebb and flow. as we all know, and this certainly is not the script that I would have written for tonight, as I think most of you would accept, but life is made up of many chapters, and I embrace the next chapter as happily as I've embraced the previous chapters. I congratulate my successor, I commend all of those who took part in this race, and the race to the finish, and I wish them well. Being a member of Parliament is a huge privilege. It's been a huge privilege for me over 14 years as a member of Parliament and the previous 13 years in the Northern Ireland Assembly to serve my constituency, and I greatly appreciate the support that they have given me. Thank you.
And the people of the Seychelles will be absolutely devastated. So Jim Allister of the TUV has ended 54 years of the Paisley dynasty in North Antrim in a devastating result for the TUV. In a devastating result for the TUV, for the DUP, you mean? In arguably the most stunning result in Northern Ireland on the election night, the TUV leader defeated Ian Paisley. Okay, so I wonder, can we get Big Jim? See what he says. Sinn Féin got 7,700 votes in North Antrim. There you go. So, yeah. So there's another article from the Irish News, pretty much just basically saying the same sort of stuff. There's some photographs. Sinn Féin President Mary Lou has said the general election result creates a major opportunity to improve relations between Britain and Ireland. That means getting Britain out of Ireland. Now, the result I want to look at in particular for me, that I find particularly interesting, is West Belfast. Now, the Bonneville's, we played a wee fundraiser for Jerry Carroll last week, the week before last, up in the Glenowen Bar to get some much needed funds for Jerry up there for his campaign. We're delighted to do it. Lovely people. So here's West Belfast. Now, he didn't win, but he got a good result. So Sinn Féin, West Belfast, Sinn Féin. It's like, you know, it would what previously what Lagan Valley would have been for Jeffrey Donaldson. It would have been unimaginable, but not impossible, as we know, because it just happened in Lagan Valley. But it would be unimaginable if Sinn Féin didn't win this, and they did, with a massive majority. So congratulations to them. 27,107 votes, 66.7% of the vote share. Huge, huge. DUP comes second, you can see on the screen there, with 5,455 votes. And Jerry Carroll came third with 4,133 votes. So that's fantastic. That's really, really good. Well done, Jerry. It's a brilliant result. Obviously, very unlikely this time that Jerry was going to get elected, but he did really well. And the people, all the volunteers, and the that went out, the place was covered in Jerry's posters. It was brilliant to see. When we went up, he really, really made an impact, and all the volunteers were going out knocking doors and talking about people before profit, which is brilliant. And I didn't get to do that myself. I didn't have the time, but we did go up and we played a wee fundraiser for them all and thanked them, and it was great. We were delighted to do it. We're absolutely over the moon. And by the way, I want to thank Chris as well. Chris, obviously, the Bonnevilles is both me and Chris. So I asked Chris, would he do this for me as a personal favour? And he did. Chris isn't in People Before Profit. And although he is, you know, he's a lefty and all the rest of it, and he's politically engaged, most of his information comes from me giving him lectures when we're on tour. So I really appreciate him for doing that for me. It was very generous of him. If he had said no, I would have understood. But he didn't. And he said no bother at all. And we did it. And thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. So there we go. That's our breakdown of the elections. That's me done. As I said, this is a shorty. I'm going to go in and watch the second. The Armagh Miners are playing shortly. I better go. They're playing in the All Ireland final against Derry, so I'm really hoping we get a result. Armagh are playing next week in the semi-final of the All Ireland Seniors, and I really hope we get a result. It's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to just give you a. Just going to have a little look. Is there anything here? No. No. On my. No, I'm not going to do that. So, as I said, just a short episode today. We're not going to. With a little breakdown. I will be back during the week with something more comprehensive and hopefully meaningful. So much to talk about. Obviously, Gaza, Palestine, the ongoing war in Ukraine, etc., etc. But the episode that I was doing when the computer broke was actually about the petrodollar. So I'm going to revisit that and have a little look at all my bookmarks because it was a few weeks ago, and there's the episode written down there. Yeah. So the episode was mainly about the petrodollar and the ongoing woes with our beautiful Loch Ness and the developments. There have been developments with us with the Loch. So I'll do a proper episode during the week, and yeah, sorry, just clicking away, getting some theme tune. So I'll do another episode during the week. We'll aim for Wednesday, will we? Yeah, we'll aim for Wednesday. And yeah, so thanks everybody. Stay well, look after one another, and I'll talk to you during the week. Bye.